Troops, here we are again, Eagle Podcast. This is the very first time she's a returning guest, and she's returning because she's done an epic adventure which makes Frodo Baggins look like an absolute biffer. It's BTT, Becky the Traveller. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing, mate?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very, very good. So, since the last time you've been on the show, you put on your shoes and you went on a bit of a hike.
Yeah, I did,
should we say?
An epic hike. It was insane. So I guess for anyone that doesn't know, I hiked from the furthest easterly point of Britain, which is Lowestoft in Suffolk, and I hiked all the way to the furthest westerly point, which is Ardnamurchan Lighthouse in Scotland.
Wow. I mean, that's a big old chunk. That's a big old chunk to carry, and you must have carried a lot of maps in your bag.
I have a confession. I carried 0 paper maps.
Right.
All of it with OS Maps Online. We made a decision.
Right. Cool.
Maps were just too heavy to carry. I had a compass with me in case I changed my mind. But kind of took it that if I got seriously lost, then I had a tent, sleeping bag, water, food. It didn't matter as much when you're kind of out normally hiking. So it's not something I am recommending. I'm just saying that's what we did.
No. Obviously, that's a good talking point. For what you've done there, you were out constantly for a real good length of time. So to actually physically carry every single OL, whatever, all the way across the country. I mean, at a rough guess, you're talking a fair few maps there, and obviously weight is key. But the apps that are coming out now, OS, View Ranger, etc., they are really, really good, and a lot of people use them. And is that how you did it? And you sort of used a lot of ways, didn't you? So talk us through about the ways that you went on to.
The plan was to go via the prettiest routes, but also take in some of the national and local trails. So we did like the Norfolk Coast Path.
Awesome.
So Norfolk Coast Path, you kind of keep the coast to your right, and you know you're good to go.
Yeah.
It wasn't there all the time. You do go inland a bit, but it is signposted. The Pennine Way is similar. That was a massive chunk in the middle, and again. We were very fortunate. It's pretty well waymarked. There are a couple of sections a bit sketchy when it's sort of boggy and up on the mountains. The tough bits are the bits that aren't flipping signposted. The easy bits are
of course.
But you know, it's how it is. West Highland Way was insane. There was just about 1 million people on it, and there was just so many signs.
Oh, really?
It's a really good hike to do if you're worried about map reading and you're not feeling confident. Give that a go. It will give you confidence a boost if you fancy doing a long distance hike.
And obviously you set off with a partner. Talk us through your partner in crime, the guy who came with you, and what it's like to hike with someone for a long period of time.
Yeah, so Ian is the Barefoot backpacker. And he's not into hiking. He does.
Whoa! The Barefoot backpacker's not into hiking. Breaking news. Right, go on.
So he loves walking. He walks everywhere, but he's not a hiker. So we had we were very opposites in the things that we liked, on the sections of the hikes that we liked. So for me, the tougher the better. But Ian, he was like the tougher. No, I don't like this. Get me out of here. So it was quite a
really
interesting contrast, in what we loved. Like I'm like, I love that bit of the hike, and it was really fun, like splashing through the bogs and jumping the bogs and getting muddy. And Ian was like, I hate mud. I hate this section. And I was like, I love mud. I love this section. So it was a real. It was a real difference between us, actually. It was kind of quite cool. So,
and how did the dynamic work? You're spending a lot of time with one person. there must have been times where you were sort of in deep conversation about everything, and then there must have been times where for like hours you just didn't even speak to each other, because that, from a personal level, sometimes that's how it goes with me, with people. And you know, it's a bit of a funny one, isn't it? You sort of just accept that there's going to be prolonged periods of silence, and you just sort of mooch together.
Yeah, so how it worked before the hike, we discussed this, and we are both we've both done a lot of solo travel. I've done a lot of solo hiking and solo trips. Ian pretty much does the majority of his travel solo. So we'd said we're quite capable of walking on our own, of making our own plans, making our own decisions. So we did have, I worked out in total we had 8 days where we didn't hike for either the majority of the day together or all of the day, due to varying circumstances. And that wasn't because we fell out, it was just because well, there was one particular time Ian had ripped off his toenail, so he went back home to sort that out. I continued on. So again, it wasn't like we'd fallen out, it was just like, right, this is what's happened. So we also found that Ian was a lot faster on like the flatter sections, so quite often we would naturally walk apart anyway. And again, that was fine. I'm quite happy walking on my own. I didn't have an issue with that. And then every now and again, you know, we'd have sections where we'd walk together and we'd be like chatting away about God knows what. And, you know, it was a really nice mix, actually. We also had a lot of people joining and met a lot of people en route as well. I'm very much an extrovert. Ian's very much an introvert. So when there's people on the hike, I was like, oh, people. And I could get to talk and chat away. And Ian was like, right, Becky's getting her people fix, I'll leave her to it, sort of thing. So yeah, that's
interesting. So it's almost like it's one journey, but it's two stories in many ways.
Yeah, totally. I'm sure if you interviewed Ian, my highlights wouldn't be the same as his highlights, and yeah, I'm sure he'd tell a totally different story, even though we were both on the same challenge.
Yeah, that's cool. I think from watching it all unfold on Instagram, I was really impressed with the amount of people who sort of picked up on the story and sort of came and offered you a bed for the night, or offered you food, or joined you. What was it? Was there some particularly good highlights of people who came to join you, or anything in particular that sticks out?
I loved it when people came to join us, because you just get that one-to-one experience, and you just get to, you know, they get to ask me about the challenge, and I get to kind of talk about what we've been doing, which I love because I'm really passionate about hiking. And you know, it's a great way to get to know people as well.
Yeah.
People who came along were people that I knew, and then some people were people that I've met before. So early on, we had a couple of people. We had a lady called Diane put us up near Rutland Water. She put us up for the night. She cooked us dinner.
Oh, nice.
It was homemade gin. It was like, this is amazing. And then she joined us the next day for part of the walk as well. So it felt like, you know, a full sort of thing. Another lady, cool. And her husband called Selena. They again put us up for the night, and this is going to sound like we were having total luxury, but they had a hot tub, and we had like a really nice dinner. And then she came and joined us the next day. Had a couple of people join me on the Penny Ghent, the day from Malham to Horton in Riversdale.
That's a beast.
Bryony and Adrian and Chris came to join us on that day, and we had a beautiful start to the day. It was like gorgeous weather up on Malham Cove, and then just, I think we're on Fountain Fell, and we were like, oh, it's starting to get a bit dark. 5 minutes later, absolutely lashed it down, and we're like walking up Penny Ghent, and it was literally a river flowing down. The rain came down so heavy, it was like a proper flash rainstorm, so heavy that rain was just bucketing down the mountain. Wow. But I was having such a laugh. That was one of my favourite days, even though I got absolutely drenched that day, purely because of the people around me, having a laugh, getting wet. That's what it's all about. It's, we had some awesome sunny days as well, but that that is a weird highlight for me, because, you know, people saying, oh, hiking in the rain, what, that was one of your highlights? And yes, it definitely was.
Hiking in the rain builds character. Hiking in any sort of bad weather builds character. And as well, what it does is when you do get a particularly gorgeous day, for me, it makes you appreciate it more. I tell people all the time, don't be afraid to hike in bad weather. Just be prepared for it. It actually has its own beauty. When you accept it, it actually has its own beauty. I mean, from what I saw on Instagram with all the people coming along, it just looked like a big party. Like, it looked like an absolute festival just going across the country. And all of these people, did they find out about it through Instagram? How did they find you? How did they know, obviously, what was going on? And
Facebook group as well. And then, so it was mainly Instagram and Facebook. I probably didn't have as many people that I would have liked to have joined, but I think that was partly our fault because we walked too damn fast. I had quite a lot.
I'll get on to that.
I had quite a lot of people who were like trying to meet up, but the majority of people wanted to meet at weekends, and there were only so like weekends within the challenge, and you know it would have been brilliant to have more people, but logistically it was pretty hard to try and organise as well, because we had limited signal and trying to work out where we were going to be exactly. The Pennine Way was easier because we had a bit more of a structure to the Pennine Way route that we took, but the rest of it was very ad hoc. So yeah.
No, absolutely, and I was one of those people who planned to meet up with you, and I remember like sort of watching your progress, and I was thinking, right, okay, so Pennine Way, right, okay, so Barney Castle, Middleton Teesdale, High Force, and I thought, oh, I'll join her at High Force. She should be there in about, and I honestly thought about a week, and then like a day or two and a half days later, I'm like, what's going on here? Like you've gone past High Force, and I'm like, wow. And then by the time the week had come round, I think you were like almost sort of the Chevelets, Windy Gyle sort of way. Like, you know, I was like, oh, well, Scotland then, you were flying.
Yeah.
What do you put that down to? Just becoming fitter?
You just kind of get used to it. Your legs just get in a routine. You know, the rucksack just becomes part of your body, you know, as you're moving. I never really felt like it was a hindrance. Never really felt like, oh, this rucksack's, you know, there was a couple of times when I'd refueled and I was like, okay, it feels heavy today. And then I'm like, I'll drink some, I'll eat some food and whatnot. But yeah, the second half of the Pennine Way, we banged out some long ones. So we did kind of like, we did a 21, another 21, a 20, and then we decided to kind of split one of the days, and we did kind of 14, and then we had like a 9-mile day, which was quite a nice one because we finished at lunchtime and went to the pub. But yeah, your legs just become accustomed to it. So I think at the beginning we were planning on doing 15 miles average a day, and the last week we did we must have averaged about 20 miles a day in the last week, and we did one of our longest we did some really long days in the last one. We did a 24-miler, we did a 26-miler, we did a 20-miler, and then the very last day we did a 23. Wow. So but yeah. and
I mean as well, we have to be it's great going, and we have to be grateful that we've got these ways that actually you can cover a good amount of ground, and it's down to local government, local councils, farmers, landowners, and volunteers, you know, keeping them in really, really good condition, and obviously signposting and fixing styes and gates and fords and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, hats off to those people for keeping them in good nick, because that's the sort of mileage that the Roman army used to cover when they were trying to get to battles, like 15-20 mile a day. So you were going in a cracking place.
I think we were, definitely, yeah.
What was does anywhere stand out beauty wise where you think, I wish I had a bit more time, or you're planning on going back to explore in a bit more detail?
I think there's a couple of places I'd like to go back to. and one of those is the North Pennines. I've actually never been there in my life. That's where I posted on Instagram the other day a picture of High Force, and I was kind of like, who's been here? And a lot of people had been, you know, fair income, but they were mostly people that were very local to that area. I was really blown away with that whole area. It's really beautiful. And then another place which I hear is beautiful, but I didn't really get to see a lot of it because it was bad weather, is the Cheviots. And I really want to go back there. So, you know, I didn't get to see it in its full beauty. So that would be really nice. Actually,
the Kingdom of Northumberland. Yeah, no, it's a nice part of the world, and obviously High Force is my sort of stomping ground. And Cauldron Snout. You obviously went through Cauldron Snout.
I love that. That was awesome. It was just mind blowing.
And if you've never,
I got around the corner.
Now I need to do. Yeah, go on. Tell the story.
I literally, like, you kind of scramble along some rocks and bits alongside the river, and the path takes you round to the right, and you're like going round, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, there's this amazing waterfall, and then you look up and you can see it zigzagging through the gully all the way down from the top, and it's one of those, like, you go wow, and then it's like a double wow because you kind of see the whole thing. Then you get to hike up alongside it, which is like a proper scramble up. Which is, I love that. So that was like another wow, and it was like really kind of like, it really sort of blew my mind. Actually, I totally loved that one. That was awesome.
Oh, sorry, we just lost each other for a moment. We just lost each other. You're back now. You were talking about wows.
Yes.
You were talking about no, I got Cauldron Snout wow, and then the signal cut out, so just go from the wow.
From the wow. So I basically walked around the corner and was like, wow, it was just like an amazing waterfall. And then I looked up, and then literally you could see it like coming down the gully. Like, it's really difficult to explain. I've got like, and even the photo on Instagram doesn't do it justice, but it was just such a buzz. And then you get to hike up alongside it and like scramble up these like massive rocks, which, bearing in mind you've got like a great big backpack on, it's not the easiest thing. I absolutely love that. It was such a good moment.
And as well, what happens with Cauldron Snout is a lot of people who do the Pennine Way don't know that it's going to be a scramble or going to be anything like that. So when they see it, it actually sort of catches a lot of people out because they're used to walking along sort of, you know, normal sort of pathways and over this and over that and over styes. But actually it turns, and as you know, you've done it, it turns into a bit of a scramble. And when I've took people over it in the past, I always say, before you turn that right-hand side of the corner, right, who's done a bit of scrambling before? And instantly people's faces change because they're like, scrambling? Because it is a scramble, isn't it, up the side?
Yeah. Especially with a rucksack. You want to be using your hands to get up there with your rucksack, isn't it? It's not one for the... Put your poles away, and we're gonna be scrambling. No, definitely, it's a really nice part of the world, and I'm gonna have to sort of do a little bit more research because apparently there's a house that's underneath Cauldron Snout. So I need to sort of do a little bit more, like a ruin, just underneath it that's been flooded. And now we're obviously, so I need to do a bit more research and sort of find out a little bit of back history about it. But apparently, if it's low enough, and obviously like in extreme hot weather, when the water level drops, you can see remnants of the old ruin. A bit like some of the reservoirs that got flooded.
So a bit like the Lake District sort of stuff. So no, it's brilliant. And which sort of other sort of Instagrammers did you meet on the way? I know that you bumped into Adventure Nick and James when they were doing the Monroes. That looked fun because they're on an adventure as well, aren't they?
Yeah, that was awesome. I actually bumped into them after the challenge. It didn't quite link up when I was doing my challenge.
Oh, okay.
I'd said to them that I really wanted to meet up with them, and they were kind of quite local to where I was, near to Fort. Well, they were near to Fort William, should I say? So I just got in touch, and I felt like I wasn't ready to leave when I finished the challenge. So I thought, why not climb some Munros with some buddies and have a good little, it was, you know, have a bit of a detox in a very weird way. Maybe people wouldn't think climbing Munros is a bit of a way to detox, but meeting up with people that, you know, you really like and really respect, and just having a bit of a laugh with them, that was an awesome thing.
Oh no, absolutely. It's amazing. How did it feel when you could go no further? Like, you know, when you finished and that was it. That was it. How did it feel?
It was really weird. So the whole time for me, it didn't feel like I was on a massive hike. It didn't feel like I was doing this massive challenge. It just felt like I was on lots of mini adventures. And each day was like a mini adventure, and then it was like, where we're going to sleep tonight sort of thing. That was how it was. And so the end of the walk, although I knew it was the end of the walk, it still wasn't quite the end because I wasn't home.
Yeah.
So I knew the end of the walk and the end of that part of the journey with me and Ian, because he was planning on going off to the Outer Hebrides, and I was planning on going back to Fort William. It wasn't like some people say it's an anticlimax when you sort of reach. It wasn't that. It was just like, this is a normal day, and we've just done a hike, and now we're going to go back. And you know, I felt the buzz, and I felt like, yes, we've done this. But it was weird. It was kind of like, and it was pretty late at night, to be fair. It was
right.
We got there about 9ish, 9:30, something like that, and then we were taking photos and, you know, that sort of thing. So by the time it got to the point where I was like, I just want some food. I just want to set up camp and get some food in. That was the priority, really.
And obviously you've logged this entire adventure, and you must be on at the moment writing your vlogs and your blogs. How did you have... I think let me rephrase this. So I think what a lot of people, they might just see it as an adventure, like, oh, wow, amazing. But you have to it has to become sort of like a working adventure, doesn't it? And, you know, you can't just finish it and say, brilliant, thanks very much. You know, people want to read your story. Did you have to write like sort of a social media plan or anything that sort of kept you from getting carried away and like, must remember to take a photo of this or must remember to do that? Or did it just flow nicely?
Not really. I mean, I guess I've had my website for quite a while now and going on trips and hiking. So I kind of have a gauge for what sort of content I need for it. And when you're writing at a particular place, you don't necessarily need every single photo of every single step of that journey. And you also want to keep it special for other people as well. It's like, here's a bit of a snippet, but don't give the whole walk away. Like, at this point, you'll see this. And this. So it's sharing enough to basically intrigue people to want to do it, to want to explore. I'm going to write up things like, I'm going to write about the Pennine Way,
cool,
the West Highland Way, about the Norfolk Coast Path. They're sort of three of the main ones I'm going to cover off. But I've also, like, I've shared what to pack for a long distance hike. So if you're thinking about doing a long distance hike, whether that's 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 months, your kit is pretty much the same, really. I'd say it doesn't that much for the longer you're away. So if anyone's thinking about doing a long distance hike, then go check that out. See what you think of what I took and what I should have taken and what I should have left behind. But it's very personal, I think. Like, someone else's luxury to them might be for you. Well, that's not important to me. So it's everyone talks about get your pack down and get it as light as possible, and I totally agree with that. But, you know, there's little things that you're kind of like, I want to take that, that's important to me. So, you know, it goes in the bag, sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Like you said, some people carry more, some people carry less. There's ability, there's affordability. Some of the ultra lightweight stuff is very, very expensive, and if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. How many nights did you sleep in your tent, which looked very, very good?
I did actually add this up, and it was 37 out of 57.
Wow! Oh, that's really good.
I love
Wow, that's really good. And I bet you can put it up really fast now, can't you? I bet you're a speed demon at putting it up and taking it down.
It's a really easy tent to put up. I think anyone could put it up quick, to be honest.
Really? Wow.
It depends how many parts of the tent I put up. So the tent has like a mesh inner, and in good weather, I just put that up without the rain sheet on top. So it's kind of it's the closest to bivvying you can get. And when you're in places like Scotland with midges, I just was quite happy to be in that little net. So nothing could, get in and bite me, which was handy. And then with the fly sheet, probably, another couple of minutes. But yeah, super quick, really nice, lightweight. I really like that tent.
Was there ever a day where you thought yourself, I've bitten off more than I can chew here, or I'm going to have to sort of just, have a condor moment and think about what I'm doing? Was there ever like a low day?
There wasn't a day where I felt like I couldn't do this. There was a day where I felt really ill, and it was bloody hard work. Oh my God. I just, when you're feeling ill, you want to just curl up in a ball and get in bed. You don't want to be hiking 20 miles with a, 16 kilogram backpack on your back. That was a day, and I woke up and I just felt a bit off. I was walking, and kind of, we did the first 10 miles, and I just didn't quite feel right. I felt a bit sicky and a bit kind of like, and I wasn't eating as much as I usually would, because I had kind of a tactic where I would try and graze quite regularly throughout the day to keep my energy level constantly. And on this day, I just don't feel like eating anything. And we got to kind of the halfway mark and sort of stopped. And I was like, right, I need to have something to eat. And I'd had this goddamn pasty, and I was trying to eat it. And when you're forcing yourself to eat something, and your body like, I don't want this, and your head's going, you've got to eat something. So I forced this bloody down, and just was like, that was the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. And we set off again, and then I was just like, I feel even worse now. I feel really sick. I was by the side, we were doing this little bit alongside the road, and I was literally just like, I was like, hang on a minute, Ian. And he's like, what's up? And I just wandered off down the road, and I was like trying to make myself.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I feel so bad. It just sort of came as a wash over me. And we walked around this corner. Wow. And in my head, I was just thinking, I just want to curl up in a ball and go to sleep. I want to go to bed and just get in, pull the duvet over, and I just want to go to sleep for a couple of hours and just sleep it off until I feel better. So we walked past these woods, and I was like, I'm going to go sit down for a bit. But what I actually did is I got the bottom of my tent out, my sleeping bag, and I just lay on the floor in these woods, put the sleeping bag over my head, and just shut my eyes. I felt that bad.
Wow.
And then it started raining after about half an hour. So I kind of was like, I left my bag open. My sleeping bag's getting wet. So I kind of like pulled myself up, shut my bag, got the fly sheet. Again, I hadn't put the tent up. This is me just lying on the floor in these woods, like some homeless person, I suppose. Yeah. And then I must have lay there for like another half hour. And then I was starting to get cold, and I still felt ill. So I got up, and I was a bit like, Ian's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I ain't got a choice. I can't stay here. It was just, it wasn't a full on woods. It was just like this ground next to a farm. I was like, we need to get to Peebles, another 10 miles.
Yeah.
packed my bag up, and oh my God, that 10 miles felt like about 100.
Yeah, it can feel like that, can it? Oh, it sounds like you had a bit of a turn, but you got through it. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and then the next day I woke up, it was 9:45. I'd not even got out of bed yet, and Ian was going, "What do you want to do today?" And I was like, "I'll just have a coffee and some porridge. I'll be all right in a minute." And he's like, "We've got to leave the campsite in 15 minutes. Should we stay another day?" And I was like, yeah, maybe." Admitted defeat, and we had a rest day.
Yeah.
And I didn't
it's
till 2:00 that day. I finally left the tent at 2:00, got a shower, went and got some food. Yeah, that was tough, that one.
Wow, yeah, it sounds it. Since you've been back, what's been the strategy? Are you on now writing all the blogs and all the rest of it for people to take in?
Yeah, I'm doing a mix. I've tried to have a little bit of a rest, but also I've been sorting through all my photos, which is great fun, and finding all those little pictures where you're kind of like, oh, I forgot we did that. And so there's so many photos that I didn't share on the journey, because I took the picture and then either got to camp and there was no signal, or got to camp and I was like, I'm tired, I want to go to bed. You know, there was other priorities. It's, you know, food and sleep is the priority, not posting on social media. So
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I've got loads of pictures actually that I really want to share. So I'll be doing a few of those over the next couple of weeks.
And since you've come back, we talked about it briefly before we turned live. You decided that an impromptu Welsh 3000 was needed. How was that this weekend? And what did you make of the Welsh 3000?
Well, firstly, it was my second attempt. I did try it last year. But we decided to abort very close to the end. So this was take 2. We had an absolutely banging start. The weather was insane. We had this amazing sunrise on Cribgoch, and it was just like, wow. And I was just like, oh, this is so cool. And I felt really good. Like my legs felt strong. I felt, you know, I was like, yes, I am definitely going to do this. I'm definitely going to do this time. So, you know, felt really good. Got down from Trevan about 5-ish, I think. And then I felt a bit tired on the way up to the next one, Penny or well, I can't pronounce it. I'm terribly sorry. On the way up there, we did the first 3 in
that is a beast as well. That is a beast of a climb. Beast.
From coming down Trevan, you sort of, you know, that's quite a tough descent down. It's quite a steep, all the way down to the bottom, then all the way back up again. That was about nearly 4 hours, I think it was, that whole section. So so that was tough. And then once we were up on that range, we had daylight for a little bit, but the sun obviously set. So as soon as we went into head torch mode, it got tougher, you know, just navigating and walking on the terrain. But at midnight, we reached the final summit, and I was so proud. I was just like, yes, I've done it.
That's awesome.
Obviously from there, you've then still got to do another 4 miles down to the car. But by then, we're kind of like, yes, I've done this.
and you said you did it as a team. Did you have a support vehicle? How was the admin side of it, like water and food and snacks? How did you do that?
Well, I was a bit of a latecomer, so I just I drove up. I only decided, I think maybe before I spoke to you last week on maybe Wednesday. I'd been thinking about it before I'd gone to bed one night. I was thinking I really want to do the Welsh 3000s again. The next morning I woke up, someone had posted on their Instagram that something about Welsh 3000s. I put, I really want to do that. And he was like, we're doing it this weekend if you want to come. And I was like, yes, I'm doing that. So totally last minute. So I rocked up, I parked at Penny Pass car park. I had my food and water. I've got like a water filter bottle. So I was kind of like, didn't have loads of water with me, but had enough. and we had a car at Trevan, at the base of Trevan, and we had a car at the end that the guys had like left on their way, but I didn't actually have any supplies or any gear in either of those cars because I was latecomer. So, but it was fine. I had all my gear with me. I was pretty used to carrying a backpack and stuff. So
yeah, that must have put you in good. That must have put you in good stead. You must be, as I said, hiking fit now. As in, you must be used to carrying your own body weight over undulating ground. So that definitely puts you in good stead for a challenge.
I'm not that strong.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Welsh 3000 is a good challenge. What's as we sort of close into August and really running down the summer, what's the plans moving towards sort of Halloween and onwards, Christmas? What's on the list?
I'm possibly going to Morocco for Christmas to do a hike of
Tukal.
No, I've done that one.
Okay.
This is the third highest mountain. I've totally forgotten what it's called. She's very.
It's all right.
So that's the plan. Yeah, and I'm very much. I hadn't planned anything since I came back from the adventure. I didn't want to have sort of pressure. I wanted to make decisions. So a lot of the things is very ad hoc. I'm doing a trip to Kadir Idris, having another weekend in Snowdonia in a couple of weeks. I've got a couple of Peak District trips planned, but yeah, everything's quite sort of ad hoc. Nothing major. But
awesome.
I'm the kind of person, I don't say no to stuff. So if an opportunity arises, there'll be a pretty good chance that I'll say yes to it. So who knows what I'll be up to.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Becky, it's always great to chat to you. There's no 5 watts because you've already done it. So people can listen back to that if they want to know your 5 watt story. Where can people find you on social media and all the rest of it? Websites?
Well, I'm on pretty much all social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is pretty much my home. I'm on there, and you can find me Becky the Traveller. My website is beckythetraveller.com, or you can you can get in touch however you want, really. Drop me an email, drop me a message. I'm on most of the day, especially today. I'm chilling today.
And what I would say, what I find really good about your Instagram is always a great message coming out of there, and you're really responsive, and I can see from the engagement you engage with the people who follow you, and you actually genuinely care about the people who follow you. And sometimes people, I think, can start believing their own hype, but you definitely keep it grounded. And I enjoy your Instagram, and I enjoy the conversations that we have. So people should definitely go and check out what you're up to. It's you obviously well worth a follow and a like here and there.
It's on social media for a reason. It's you're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Not about numbers. It's about having conversations, and I've met a lot of people from Instagram, but I talk to a lot of people, and I feel like I know them. And I know you never know someone 100%, but I'm supportive. If you're a beginner hiker, an experienced hiker, I still love talking about hiking. So get involved.
I'll just quickly sort of, are you aware of what Instagram's planning on doing in the next 3 months in the UK? They are removing followers and likes from people's pages, as in I won't be able to see what your following is, and I won't be able to see what sort of likes you're getting on a post. They feel like it's creating egos, and they don't want that, so they're going to remove it. So you, as the admin on your page, can see what's going on, but it won't be visible to people looking at your page. Personally, I think that's great, because it takes away people's I think I'm the man, or I think I'm the woman sort of. I've got 5,000 likes on a photo. Half of it's from bots anyway. You just have to read some of the random comments. I saw a photo of a gym, and someone had wrote, "Wow, what a stunning place," and I was like, "What, of a gym?" And I thought, that's a bot. So what's your?
I knew they were trialing that. I didn't realise it was officially coming in, but that's really positive. Anything can take away the, you know, the negative side of it, because that does become the negative side of it when people get so het up on numbers, and you know, you've got that pressure on yourself that, you know, you must get these X amount of likes and that sort
well said.
And that's a big side of social media that can have, you know, a negative impact, and a negative impact
Definitely.
on mental health, which if they're looking at that and doing it for that reason, then that's totally the right direction to go in. I'm up for that, defo.
Absolutely. Two things that I've taken from this chat is every day was a mini adventure, and one journey, two stories. That's what you should call the book. When you write the book, I'll let you I'll call the blog. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been great to have Becky Traveller back on the podcast. Next week, I welcome on a friend of mine who has Red Coat Apparel, ex-army like myself, has an amazing brand, and even Tom Hardy buys the Red Coat Apparel t-shirts. So that should tell you all you need to know. If it's good enough for Venom, it's good enough for everyone else. Thanks very much, Becky. Thanks very much for coming on the show, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Bye.
Adios. Bye.